Thompson's there, Billy in, a goal, Chris Billy, Huddersfield Town. The most famous goal of Chris Billy's life.
Is this the moment for Lee Fowler? It is. Take your place in Division 2, Huddersfield Town.
Ruby and Steve Simonson's boots now. He's missed. Steve Simonson clears the frame of the goal and collapses in a heap of tears. Huddersfield Town are promoted.
Mustafa Schindler has a chance to write his name in Huddersfield Town legend. And he takes that chance!
Hello and welcome to the Andy Takes That Chance podcast, coming to you from Zone 5 of the Acu Stadium, Huddersfield. Huddersfield, where if you're very special, you'll get a Christmas leaflet on your seat, inferring that you're a yobbish outcast that needs reporting to the football authorities. In the game, the Terriers trounced Darren Moore's charges, which led to the former town boss losing his job at the side who languish at the foot of the table. We have a very festively plump panel this week. I'm your host, Matt Shaw. With me to dissect the stuffing is the Yorkshire pudding, Richard Kosmala, the carrot on his Swede, Dan Porritt, and unfortunately we are this week without the tofu taster, Ian Kilroy, who's gone to Wales and just binned it off. Boys, how are we doing? Merry Christmas.
Merry
Christmas, mate.
Yeah, Matt, I went to some bingo last night. Long story, but I couldn't play because I can't gamble. But the caller said, Huddersfield Port Vale, and everyone's looking at each other going like, 5-0, blind 50. It's like, for a big town fan, to be fair, and he watches this, so he'll love it. But yeah, unbelievable day of football, and most of it, you always say, Matt, you predicted everything in these drive-ins. So come on, Matt, were you saying 5-0, mate? Or why are you 5-0?
We didn't do a drive-in for it, mate, so I would have had a win,
yeah.
but probably 3-1, I think.
Yeah.
Just found a chocolate button on my desk. That's no idea how long that's been there, so that's going to go in the bin. Right, let's get into it. So, Town 5, Port Vale 0. I'm just a little bit. I've got a new light up here, and it is distracting me really badly. If my intro was a little bit ropey there, it's just
put it on, mate, don't you?
Getting blinded.
Yeah, it's like Killer.
It's honestly, it's really light
in disguise. You killer.
It's really, really light, but it's like it's very much in my eyes. But anyway, so Town kept the same side that won at Rotherham. The only change to the matchday squad being that Joe Taylor came in for Ben Wiles, who was out ill. Against Rotherham, the system kind of played in possession a bit more like a 4-2-3-1 with Balka kind of shifting to right back. It was a little bit different yesterday. I know you kind of don't get the best view tactically because you're quite low down behind the goal. But it was a little bit more like a traditional back three. And then in attack, Alfie May often moved out to the right-hand side with Castledine moving to the left. And both of them kind of rotated a little bit around Bojan. It made it more of a 3-4-3. But it's quite good to see, really, that Lee Grant's adapting now game by game as opposed to sort of just throwing a system in and changing the players within it or changing the... it's almost like an operator, isn't it? Just plugging different bits into the same parts to see if it works. But I thought it was quite interesting. Is it a case of Lee Grant adapting nicely, or did we just play two poor sides in a row, which has made it probably look a little bit better than it did?
Probably a bit of both, I think, Matt, to be honest. I know over at Rotherham, I think the way that we started, they had that little spell, didn't they, where they had a bit of a chance. I think they had a goal disallowed, which probably not a foul on Nichols after seeing it back. But obviously after that, we kind of grew in confidence and got a few quick goals. And I think that's what's happened, Matt. I think a lot of it is down to confidence. I think football's a massive confidence game anyway. And we've luckily come up against two teams who are extremely low on confidence, and I think what he's done there, Grant, is, he talked about his he loves his stats, doesn't he? Afterwards, he talked about the Port Vale being top of the league for running in certain areas of the pitch, which when you look at a zonal map, for those that don't kind of follow that kind of stuff, it is just outside that 18-yard box in it, that kind of area. So to kind of pack that area, he's obviously done his research and targeted well. obviously Castletyne's on great form at the moment. Bojan's on some good form, so playing them two close together and just giving a little bit of a different option to Alfie May. Sorry about that. That light's distracting me now.
Mate, I'm struggling with this light. Really, I'm struggling.
You look
with
like one of
light.
them YouTube influencers with big ring light going on. But no, Castletyne's a little bit different to Alfie May in here. You know, Alfie May's a bit more of a traditional striker, and Castletyne is what I would class as a traditional 10. So, you know, he can pick the ball up and drive at defenders. Certainly for his first goal, and you know the way that he kind of attacked that area just outside edge of box. Extreme example, but it was very messy, wasn't it? Not so much flamboyant with his feet, you know, not so much Michael Flatley dancing around the ball, but just moving his hips and moving his body. Obviously, just drew that defender, you know, where he needed to be, and then it's a great finish, to be honest, because he just passes it in, doesn't he? It's almost like he rolls past the keeper, and there's no real power on it. It's just absolute precision from him there. But I think, obviously, Grant, like you say, he's very technical and he's very tactical. I know kind of not everybody likes it.
5 minutes 7. I wondered who'd jumped the agenda first, whether it be you or Colin.
I'm just bringing it back round now, mate. I'm just bringing it back round. But yeah, he's obviously targeted, you know, Port Vale. Like I say, he's very in depth with his analysis of opposition. I know we've got an analysis team there, and he's very, you know, statistically orientated his league round, which obviously, you know, when he talks to the press, he kind of relays that over, which I'm not sure everybody kind of agrees with, which is, you know, fair enough. Sometimes as a fan you just want the headlines rather than all the detail behind it. But I think what he's done there is he's looked at the opposition and set his team up against each opposition rather than just going with, you know, like he used to do, this is what I want to do, and we're just going to stick at it for 90 minutes and just see what happens. It is actually kind of targeted two teams there and slightly tweaked his game plan, which is obviously brilliant. It is obviously learning as we go, which is, you know, what people have been kind of critical of him for that. So in that respect, you have got to say, you know, fair play to Grant, and you know, if that trend can continue, then fair enough. I do think he has got lucky in regards to who we've played, but sometimes you just need that luck in football, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, everyone will always throw Neil Warnock that. I'll mention Neil Warnock was saved by the Stockport game in the Auto Windscreen Trophy back in 1904. So yeah, it does definitely play a part. It could have started really badly though, Kosi. Gooch and Balka down the right. Gooch doesn't back Balka up, back him up properly. Balka sort of plays the ball into the Port Vale player, loses it, and it's Jaheim Headley who puts it on a plate for Wayne, the striker who's coming in. And Joe Lowe switches off terribly against it and just completely lets him go, and he puts the ball in the side of the net, in the side netting. It's a bit of an auspicious start, but then Joe Lowe's pass out as well for the corner in the second half wasn't particularly great. But other than that, though, I thought he's probably improved quite a lot over the last couple of games, Joe Lowe. And I mean, you can throw the opposition or the quality of the opposition into that. But I think he just looks a lot happier in a back three at the moment, doesn't he, Cos? And but I mean, it took a little while for the defence to get going, and we certainly could have been one down early on by switching off pretty badly. Yeah,
that would have not have got the natives off their feet. Well, he probably would have done, but vitriol and abuse coming out of their mouths as well. Yeah, strange, Matt. But you know what? It would have weird. It were almost like Port Vale fans. Honestly, it was so weird. Like, I walked to the ground at 10-3 and there were 15 Port Vale fans walking the other way. So I thought, have they been kicked out or what have you? So we're not going in. We are shit. We're off to the pub and it's a lot warmer and that as well. So they knew what were coming. So when that guy, I mean, we had a chance to be fair, but when he put it wide, it was almost like just re-emphasising that they're crap and surely we're going to kind of win this game and that as well. But obviously, I wouldn't have liked to have had a goal start, to come back from and that as well. But yeah, no, low, Matt. Again, like a lot of the stuff we're going to be saying this evening, a lot of it's going to have an asterisk next to it until we've played a bit of better quality. But you've got to call it as you've seen it, and that as well. Last two games has looked a lot more comfortable. Balka seems to have kind of got his mojo back a little bit as well, and not the greatest start for him. And obviously you mentioned that wild pass, but surely he's only got to improve, that guy, even better more than we've seen in the last two games and that as well. But let's see him, in the next few games. And it's think Tom Reeves is back in town, isn't he, tomorrow, unless he's going to rest him or what have you. But it'll be interesting. But no, good that they missed, and obviously then. Because you've already gone through the first goal, haven't you? See, if I'd have
Sorry, mate. I thought I'd just fill your shoes.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention the kickoff as well. We did a hoof kickoff like Boothie was back on field. Remember we used to do those long ball kickoffs with like 5 people? Used to stand on the left wing.
It's become a thing, though, hasn't it? It's become a thing.
Yeah, Man City do it as well, don't they?
Yeah, get it in corner, try to get something from there.
I think the good thing with that goal, one, Pods, obviously you touched on the beautiful finish and stuff, but the thing that I liked, there were a big press. There were a big pack running in, and Arnes got the ball. And it's like, I like to see that early on and stuff. I didn't see that in a lot of the games that we had the stinking run and that as well. And they were like, I think Ledson was involved, and I can't remember the others. But there were 4 around the guy, and he stumbled, lost the ball. Arnes nicked it off him and put him in, obviously. The guy were allowed to run and run and run. But it's just little things that you see now. And I like you mentioned there, like a big long ball or what have you, and that's all direct. But there is. These are noticeable for me, get it forward a bit quicker kind of scenario, sometimes even a bit of a lump it kind of thing. And I just hope that continues in that as well, because I think sometimes putting the pressure on the other team rather than trying to play it into feet and stuff, if you can do things different ways, then I think it gives you something to think about. And I've noticed that a little bit recently. You mentioned some of the passing that's gone out, but again, that might just be by chance or hopefully by instruction. But and obviously Castledine, Jesus Christ, it's like, I know it's not the most exciting chant, Castledine again, ole, but it is. Has he got 11 goals now? Has he got 11 goals?
I think he's on. I think he was 7 or 8. I think
7. Is that what
he's got 7 in 7, but 9 overall.
9 overall. That's it. I think top scorer in league's got 11, Kosi. So you're right there with an 11.
Yeah, he looks. He's just as though he's enjoying life, but like you said, Poz, it's a finish, unfortunately, as we'll come on to later on, that is going to make you think that he can do it at a higher level. But 1-0 up, and after nearly going 1-0 down, fab start.
I mean, that goal's excellent, isn't it? It's like I say, it starts with Harness, who plays it into Castledine. And Poz, you were on about before we went, not live, but before we started recording this, that it's all to do with the movement of his body rather than the movement of the ball. And I mean, Port Vale, the defender, if you're a Port Vale fan, you're very angry at them backing off so far, and he kind of just rolls it into the corner, doesn't he? But it's sort of the way he moves on and off the ball. He's a cut above, isn't it? And that was just another example there of how he's got the defender hopping around by not even touching the football.
Yeah, it is, mate. It's. You'll be like me, obviously you do coaching in junior football, and a lot of these kids turn up and they're doing all these fancy flicks and all this sort of stuff, and you stood there thinking, I'm a bit old school, I don't really like all that, and the aim of the game is in it to just off balance somebody, and sometimes you don't need that fancy footwork. You can move your hips, you can move your shoulders, and you can kind of see him. He's just edging to his left, and I obviously, like you say, I'm behind the goal, and I'm looking, I'm thinking, I can kind of see what he's going to do here. He's kind of edging that way. He's going to open his body and just try and sort of. I wasn't expecting him to pass it like that, but just kind of curl it, to the keeper's left as he's looking at it. And it's like I say, it's a great finish because there's not much power behind it. Because it doesn't need to be. It's just a simple pass in, and he wheels away with a great smile on his face. And it's interesting because he's obviously mentioned there about his grabbing the headlines with all his goals and attention from other clubs, but the way that he kind of stood in front of the fans and everybody kind of going mental, he had that look on his face that kind of sometimes you can read into things that are probably not there. But I looked and I just thought, if you're a young kid, you look at this, you're getting a lot of plaudits, you're playing really well. Would you want to go anywhere else? Why would you? Would you want to get away from all that? And I don't know. There's been a lot. I know there's money that comes involved and all that sort of stuff. But surely if he's got a contract at Chelsea, and unless someone's going to buy him, I don't really see the point in him going elsewhere at this moment. But I suppose that's a conversation for either another pod or another day. But yeah, it looks like he's enjoying his football. He's playing really well. Obviously, he's smashing goals in and all that sort of stuff. So as a young lad, for me, my advice, not that I'm anybody that you never pay attention to, but just stay what you're doing, stay enjoying it, because wherever you're enjoying it, you're playing well, and bigger things potentially could come after. Sometimes you look at these players and they move too early, and then they don't get a sniff for 6 months, and the career peters out, doesn't it? So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him.
He reminds me, like shape-wise, he reminds me a little bit of Jack Grealish in some of his movement, and it basically because he's got massive calf muscles. So that's why he reminds me of Jack Grealish. But he's got that kind of like the hair and the way he moves. He's just got that kind of swagger, similar to him. I mean, he doesn't. It's not that.
Where's his best position, guys? Do you think he's not really held to one position? Because I think obviously wide and he's doing really well.
I think 10.
He played 10, didn't he, on Saturday? Played 10 on Saturday, sort of, and then he could sort of overlap Bojan to the left. I think when he's played wide left, he's actually been quite poor for quite a lot of the games, and it's kind of taken him out of the game by moving him wide. I think the best way to get the best out of Leo Castledine is to play him just off a striker or behind two strikers in this scenario, and get him the ball in the final third into space where he can hurt people, and that's kind of in line with the penalty box. I wouldn't have him on any of the flanks, but anywhere within a straight line out of the penalty box, and I think he's dangerous. And again, he's the one. But then again, he's the one who draws the foul, isn't he, for the second goal, where he gets the ball on the left. I think it was in from my seat, and then Harness's delivery, and it's intentionally flat from Harness to Ledson. Port Vale fans again will be pulling the hair out of this, and then Ledson just flicks it in. And that's right in front of you, Pozny, and that was.
I was shocked, mate. I seen the goal and I thought, "Who's that? It must be someone." And he'll say someone decent, then that's probably doing Ledson a disservice. But you know what I mean? I thought last person I thought that'd be is
the striker's finish. You meant to say it was a striker's natural.
That's what I meant.
Anyway,
surprise of it, shall we say?
Poor Ryan.
But yeah, great finish, and again, it's confidence in it to try that. And given the pressure they've been under recent weeks, obviously that win at Rotherham has put a bit of wind in the sails, and 1-0 up. These set pieces normally just lump them in and hope a big centre half kind of heads it. But like I say, Matt intentionally played low. Some of them obviously worked on in training. So yeah, another good goal, really.
Need a bit of luck though, guys. And again, I'm going to point out again, Bojan, he was hilarious. I remember the Guinness Book of Records where basically, remember, you used to have the dominoes lined up, and then someone used to push a domino and it just go on for about half an hour, just like knocking loads of the dominoes over. But Bojan did exactly that in front of the killer. He pushed one of their guys into another guy, and it's like the ref linesman just like, we're having some good look at that side recently, haven't we? Because of that Murray Wallace thing where other linesmen or refs, when they get towards kill them out, there must be some laser pen or something.
I'll be honest with you, I thought that was one of the worst referees we've had this season. I thought it was awful. I thought he missed a lot.
Yes, Positive. You thought it was all right off there, didn't you?
No, quite. He kept it flowing. I can't remember any overly controversial decisions.
There were quite a lot of pushes in the back, like blatant big pushes in the back from Port Vale against us, which he didn't pick up on. I thought he missed a lot. I thought it was really bad, the referee. But it's not often you can slag the referee off in a 5-0 win, is it? So I think
we'll let him off.
We'll let him off on this one. But it could have been a heavier score, I thought, if it wasn't for him.
I mentioned Bojan there, and I mentioned the other guy. Honestly, I want to show this guy even more love than I have last couple of weeks. Bojan has been absolutely sensational. I love this movement. I love the fact he's getting involved with so many different things. He's such a clever player, Matt. Miles more than I think we even saw.
We've said it for ages. Honestly, I've said it for ages. It's just physically, he couldn't cope physically.
Why was he even there, getting involved with that on the touchline? But it's like, every decision he seems to make at the moment seems to be clever and good and with a purpose and an end product and stuff like that as well. It's honestly, he can do stuff that not many people can in our team, and it's incredible to be able to say this. But we'll come at one of the goals later on, which was absolutely icing on the cake one. But honestly, this guy, we're talking about playing with confidence and stuff, guys, but Bojan now he's totally confidence player. And finally, obviously, he picked the same team 2 days in a row. Let's fingers crossed it's a bit harder than Christmas. Be interesting in Northampton. I know Joel Granger put a team out like he does and that as well. He had Alfie May kind of on the bench and stuff. But these are tough times, one out there, because tomorrow it's got to be tempting, Anthony, to think, does he, change it, tinker it, who's got a knock? Is it a game where we can rest because we know the physical battle of Lincoln? Obviously, we'll come on to that later on. But for me, just the consistency of the selection and the players that are getting to know each other and stuff, it's there for all to see. But just going back to Bojan, it's absolutely incredible, the rebirth, and a guy who's just causing havoc for opposition, and long may it continue. Even fouling people, keep it going, Bojan.
It pops up with the third goal, doesn't it? And it's awful goalkeeping. I thought the goalkeeper for Port Vale was awful.
Yeah,
it was so bad.
Matt, he used to be good in back in the day, Ben Amos, though, didn't he? We've bumped into him billions of times over the years. Yeah, back when he was 20 odd. Millwall, Charlton, he's been everywhere.
Did he get in? I don't know.
I don't know if he ever played.
Nah.
I think he might be a sub, but it starts with Castledine again. He gets the ball in a good area, in that key area, sort of in zone 5 or in zone 6. Kosi is this one, so he gets it in the old zone 6, and he runs around the outside, doesn't he? And then has a shot, and the goalkeeper makes an absolute hash of it. But Bojan, like confident strikers do, they follow in, don't they? And he's played it through the defender's legs as well to boot.
Took a big deflection on that.
Just to add to your, it got deflected up to by the keeper, but just to add to your Bojan praise. So he's got 5 goals, 5 assists, and he's currently either scoring or assisting on average every 75 minutes. So there's a goal contribution from Bojan every 75 minutes at the minute, which over the course of the season is sort of Jordan Rhodes-ish levels, isn't it? But obviously it's not much that. But yeah, at the minute, every 75 minutes, Bojan's popping up with the goods, which is fantastic.
Well, he's making stuff happen, and as a team, we're making stuff happen. I know I know there's a massive asterisk against the last 2, but people are daring to do stuff, trying to take people on, doing different things, and some of this luck that we're having, I think it's deserved when you have a goal. The frustration we've seen this year is like we've not kind of really been. It doesn't look like we've really kind of grasped the nettle and kind of gone for stuff and that as well. So and people, the fans, mate, nettle, zettle or whatever, them cash machines on there that you tap. But no, honestly, this is just what people want to see in that as well. We're not exactly watching like Pep's reincarnation. Someone put a beautiful. Put a tweet on it. I think he got more likes than anything yesterday. I feel sorry, but Lee Grant when he's against bad teams, and it just showed a picture of Pep. Something so simple, something so naughty, but something so funny, man. But just enterprising play, and it was nice to see. Just people getting forward, and just as bad as they were, that's what we want to see in it, man.
Do you know, half time came and happy days, everything's great. It's fantastic. It's Christmas. People are singing songs about poor old Darren Moore, who is a lovely bloke, is Darren Moore. He doesn't really deserve the crap he gets from all 4 sides, but he is very dull. But I thought we might slacken off like we did against Rotherham, where you kind of, there's a lot of games coming up, and I think one thing that we mentioned against Rotherham was teams that go on and do things in the league kind of sense blood, and they're like sharks, aren't they? And they really go for the jugular, don't they? And finish teams off. And Town don't really do that. They kind of have spells of 20 minutes where we're decent, and then 70 minutes 20 minutes where we're decent, 20 minutes where we're useless, and then in between is just very meh, isn't it? But we didn't. We were pretty good again second half, and the 2 goals we scored in the second half, I thought were fantastic goals. Gooch is the one who starts the first one, doesn't it? I don't know what Kosi's doing there on the back.
That was Zidane, mate, when Gareth Bale scored that unbelievable goal in the Champions League final. I'm trying to look like Zidane with the ball dead, and like that, innit? One of those gifts.
Look more like Brian McDermott than but we got it's great work from Gooch, and then he plays it in, and the ball from Bojan is unbelievable. It's
great
weight,
vision, yeah.
It's the weight of his weight of passing to Bojan. Honestly, the pass to Gooch last week at Rotherham was weighted quite beautifully, and it's the ping. It's old Dennis Bergkamp again, isn't it? Who just gets the ball in, and it's the ping with the side foot out to Sean Rowan. It's a fantastic pass. Sean Rowan goes on, and he makes the right decision, Rowan, because he runs in, so he makes a run towards goal, which then allows Alfie May to run on the outside. Clever play. Alfie May overlap, taps him in. One touch, bottom corner. Alfie May's got the monkey off his back, Kosi. By that, we don't think
I said at half time,
good for Alfie May.
I was so chuffed because I just like hard work being rewarded. He so deserved that goal, Matt, and it was just a touch of quality, wasn't it, in that as well. And one thing I noticed kind of like in the first half where, we've gone about no connection between fans and players and stuff. Alfie May, you'll see it, Pozza. I know it was a bit of banter, but they were like kicking the ball. But he was trying to engage with the fans, and I think we need something like that. So
He was really unlucky just with an header just after that as well. If that had gone in, I think,
But honestly, like his goal would have just a touch of quality, exactly what we brought him in, and the big coup signing that we thought we all got, and hopefully still will get us up going and as well. But yeah, honestly, you can't beat a crossfield pass for a goal, can you? You don't see it much Huddersfield Town. And I know there were like no one putting any pressure and hardly anyone between one side to the other to Rowan, but it was stunning. What a goal! And again, if you've got them shirts like we had on there and a Man City badge or Arsenal, Fly Emirates. People are like showing that for ages and stuff, just because it's League One.
It was nice. I think he was talking just earlier, because about playing forward a bit quicker and a bit with purpose. It were a counter attack, wasn't it? And normally we've seen kind of laboured attempts to get forward and not overcommit too soon in case we break down or whatever reason. But yeah, it was great to see a nice counter attacking goal. And again, I remember when Darren Moore were our manager, we used to concede quite a lot on counter-attack. So again, kudos to Lee Grant there. He's obviously looked at, how Port Vale get picked off, and a great bit of tactical, if they are upfield, let's attack with purpose and let's get forward, because they're susceptible to concede, and so it became. And it was very similar for the last goal as well, Castledine's last goal. That were a nice little bit of play, and that I don't think it were a full counter attack, but it were quick. Passing.
It's the last ones that they play the ball forward and Balka wins it, and it's really good for Balka, because Balka actually shows strength at centre back, and it's something that people have been critical against Balka in, that he's not very strong at defending situations whereby maybe the ball's in the air, but he wins the ball in the air, controls it, lays it up to Alfie May, and it's superb from here. It's genuinely, I think, probably the best goal of the season in terms of some of the goals. Some like Stuart, I always do this every week, call him Stuart Castledine's, but Leo Castledine's free kick against Luton, his ping against Sunderland, etc. So he scored some great goals, but this is just such a great team goal, and it's Alfie May with a reverse pass. I'm such a sucker for a reverse pass. Aaron Moy used to do it all the time, and ever since Aaron Moy, I've been craving reverse passes, and Alfie May does it, and Castledine just drops into the hole, that perfect position. He plays a perfect little ball to Bojan. Bojan with a nice saucy flick back to him. Lovely one-touch football, and he whips it in the top corner. And for me, that is probably the best goal of the season so far. There's been some good goals. And when me and Jerry had this discussion, didn't we, in our WhatsApp group, whereby I got halfway through doing the goals of the season for last year, and they were so crap. I think I've shelved the actual video. It was none of them were good. They were so boring. But this season is going to be there's some bloody good goals.
Some nice goals, isn't it? It's not an easy finish either from Castledine. I know it's not miles out, but to get that much power and whip on it, like again from where we were, it's almost right behind it, and you could see it kind of fly. If you watch the highlights back, I think it's Harness, and he's just like got his head in his hands as if to say, "Wow, that's decent." And again, it all boils down to confidence, doesn't it? You're 4-0 up at home, you're playing well. Those little flicks and reverse passes, they just come out of people's locker, doesn't it? And it kind of makes you wonder, where's this been all season, doesn't it? Again, like Kosi says, massive asterisks against the last two. But if we'd have played like this a little bit more against everyone else, we might not have found ourselves in the position that we find ourselves in.
And another thing as well, Pozza, I think you might not have found the fans in the position that they found themselves in, where even now there's still far too many at the concourse level second half, even though we're 3-0, because they're disengaged with it still. And to get people engaged back, it's frustrating, because it's just that attitude and energy and stuff that would have got more on side and still more bought in. And maybe that love that maybe we'll come on to later on, where you're still not getting it after the game, where you've got like a United, everyone coming up to the crowd, and still people, obviously.
I think though, because a few people have said that in after match, what were it like, and I seem to remember, the old Warwick Fotheringham, don't get too high when we win and too low when we lose. But I do remember Lee Grant saying something very similar, and I do think that he has intentionally kept a bit of a lid on over celebrating these two wins, because I'm presuming that they will know as well that the wins have come against teams that we should have been beating. Now, don't get me wrong, I've seen, and everyone else has seen, Town struggle against teams that we should have been beating, but the two performances to score 3 away from home and then 5 at home, back to back, it's not just kind of like the usual struggle 1-0, 2-0 win against the bottom team. They've actually been 2 good performances, and I do think that it's still early days in it, and we've got tougher games to come. And I think that's where we see if Lee Grant has really improved and the team's improved. But it's just nice to be able to go watch Town for a couple of weeks at least and just enjoy it. We're in no real danger of losing. You weren't stood there getting really angry. You were enjoying it with the caveat in the back of your mind that all right, we're playing and look at how they're performing. But it was just nice to just watch some nice football for a change, because it has been, well, like you said, Matt, all season probably we've not played that style of football, or certainly that quick passing. It was just nice to be able to come out and say, do you know what, I enjoyed that. Because we've won games and we've got some decent results this season, don't get me wrong, but you've never really come out and gone, I really enjoyed that, but actually after 5-0, but I enjoyed the performance as well as the result.
I think if we're not playing tomorrow or whenever you listen to the podcast, Northampton, I think we get 7 and 8. I honestly do. I think we keep going, and it was scary, and maybe one of these Darren Moore went, but I heard on his interview he said he locked it down at 5. He locked it down at 5. Like,
it's an interesting one, isn't it, for Town as well? It was kind of they locked it down, and we kind of took the foot off the gas. Obviously, you're one of them, and I were a little bit like at Rotherham. Go for jugular. It's 3-0. Let's go get 5, 6, 7. And a part of me felt that on Tuesday, on whatever day it was, Boxing Day. Let's just call it. I can't remember what actual day it was, but. You've got to take bigger picture into account, and I've seen people being critical of, we should have gone on and got more goals and stuff like that, but would you rather just win 5-0? And I think a clean sheet as well is important for the defence.
Then 30 minutes past that, people were arrested for could be massive, mate, when we're on his arse at Lincoln, on Monday.
Exactly. Like I say, bigger picture thinking sometimes at 5-0, do you want to be tear-assing around and potentially pulling your hamstring or putting yourself into a tackle where you're thereby get injured? It's 5-0, game's won. Players deserved a little bit of a, let's play it. It's
just a shame it wasn't like a week's rest or whatever, like FA Cup, because I'd love to have seen where we could have really twisted that knife, but I had no problems with the kind of loads of subs and what have you. And let's hope it might pay dividends in the next few games. But it would.
It's also game time for those coming on as well. I think people forget that sometimes. It's not always about resting the players on. It's giving someone 15-20 minutes to go out and gain a little bit more experience, etc., etc.
So minutes in the legs, etc.
Exactly, mate. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, would you say that's the best performance of the season so far? I know you've got to caveat it with the standard of the opposition, but for us, is that the best one?
For me, mate, I can't think of another game where we've played like that I've enjoyed. I can just say that I enjoyed the performance.
Some of the interplay was really good, with Town coming out from the back. I think it's some of the best football we've played at times since August. There was a lot of really good link play, especially evolving around Gooch and Harness, how they would get the ball on the right hand side and they would just play out quickly and sharply from the back without really overplaying or without. When you look at the percentage passing. Possession percentages is made up of how many passes, but when you look at the possession, it's literally almost 50-50 despite Huddersfield having the best of the game, and that's because Town moved the ball forward quickly with sharp, quick, incisive passes, and that was good, and that's what I really enjoyed, and the ball was played into the front three or the 2.5 if you like, quite quickly, and then we played from there, and it's good. And I know Port Vale played in a way that allowed us to do that, and not everyone will. But I thought there was a lot of good signs moving forward that certain things are clicking and certain partnerships are starting to develop as well. Bojan and May, Castledine and Bojan, Harness and Ledson. I don't think anyone saw that coming, did they, a couple of months ago? That would be the best, potentially the best passing midfield we've had for quite a while. And then even Sean Rowan on the left with Murray Wallace and Joe Lowe, who'd thought they'd be quite decent together after the debacle at Bradford, for example, where they both looked absolutely horrendous. But we have always caveated that if Murray Wallace got a run of games, he could look fairly decent in that on the left side of that back three. And I think playing Murray Wallace is just adding that extra layer as well of experience and professionalism and just that calming influence that he brings at the back. And every time I hear Murray Wallace speak, I always think, bloody hell, he's a bloody top fella, is Murray Wallace. He's so good. When you listen to him, he comes across as such a top guy. I'd love him on the pod. I think he'd be great. But he just, I think if he just talks to young defenders like Lowe and like Rowan, through the game like that, you can see how important he would be. And I know he's got his weaknesses. It looks like he's got size 18 feet, doesn't he, in those orange boots? They look absolutely massive.
Yeah, they were Bobby Dazzlers then, weren't they?
It looks like he's
brave choice of boots for a centre half, is that?
When he does that, yeah. But he's been great, and we've mentioned Lowe earlier. Lowe looks a lot more comfortable at the minute, and Balker's looking fairly good. Balker's, I don't think Balker's played this many games. Touch wood, I don't think.
Don't jinx it, man. Let's just not talk about it.
But it's good that. So I was quite happy with a lot of what I saw on it, and there've been games where we've won 3-0, but we've looked really ropey, and we haven't had any control for long periods of the game, etc. But I felt like I know they were poor, but I felt like we always had them at arm's length, whatever. Apart from that first chance they had, where in the first sort of 10 minutes. Apart from that, I always felt like we had Port Vale at arm's length, and we exercised an element of control over them. And that's the first time this season I've really seen Town kind of do that. And I know you have to caveat the quality of the opposition, but I think it's still a progression, and that's great to see. And nobody wants to see Lee Grant, apart from Killer, nobody wants to see Lee Grant lose his job. But what we want to see him do is improve, learn, Town improve, and everyone's a winner if that happens, aren't they? And
that second half, to be fair, Matt, Port Vale had a couple of little spells of not long, but there were 2 or 3 moments where they actually did knock it around quite well, and then Town obviously were just holding position and it weren't pressing them. So there were moments where we had to be organised, and it weren't just kind of a gung ho approach, were it? And I think it was nice that we got that clean sheet, because that brings a lot of confidence to a defender, to a keeper. I saw that we top scorers in the league, but we've also conceded, I think, in line with Port Vale, or more than Port Vale. So for them to get a clean sheet as well, that just brings a little bit of joy, doesn't it, to them? And it's nice to see like you say, you talk about a performance overall from front to back. I don't think we've performed that well. Certainly, continually, we've done 10 minutes here and 15 minutes there, like you said earlier, but then kind of just peter out, didn't we? But we had a game plan. We went 5-0 up, and we just ended up seeing it out. So overall, what I'd call a very professional performance, really.
Yeah. Darren Moore as well, he's lost his job today, unfortunately for him, which I'm not sure Port Vale will be able to get much better. He's got them promoted. Unfortunately, he's paid the price for being cut adrift at the bottom. When I watched Port Vale, I actually thought in little spells they actually played some really nice little passages of football. I think the problem they've got is that Darren Moore's tried to overplay with poorer players. I could see why it would have worked a division below, but when you move up and you're trying to play football and you're trying to play out from the back and you're trying to play little passing triangles and move teams around with inferior players, then you do get this. And I think Darren Moore's kind of failed to adapt. Whereas you look at Bradford City, for example, they're more direct and they're more in your face and organised, as opposed to an intricate passing side, and that kind of works when you move up a level. And I think that's maybe where Darren Moore and maybe Grant McCann are probably going wrong at the minute, with Doncaster right down at the bottom as well at the moment. So
it was a weird one that, Matt, because I was trying to think. I mean, obviously we don't have many promotions and stuff. Well, I'll tell a lie, we've got quite a few. The only thing because it must be weird when a guy has got you promoted, an automatic promotion, and the glory that brings in the pitch invasion and the EIEIO and all that lot, to be chanting your football is shit by next Christmas. I did. Walking back into the town centre, not even coming to the games. We've seen people turn against managers that have delivered nothing. The only one that can kind of spring to mind for me was Simon Grayson, but obviously he only had a little quarter of the season. Obviously got us up, and then by Christmas, I think that Watford game when he kind of left, I remember, I think just in January, wasn't it? And then he went to the other. But I think that's a different example where, I suppose, again, you look at Jacko, obviously who got us up, but then, he was quite a while till he kind of went, but the crowd were never going to champ for him to be out because he's a legend. But I don't know, I just must feel really strange and there were people walking out and stuff. But I get if you're out of your depth and you haven't got the squad and stuff. But yeah, I know people take the mick out of Darren Moore, and God, I put a few tweets on recently with some of the stuff. But I think you haven't got an heart much if you can't be when there's both sides of a ground, like abusing the guy and really.
I felt I felt for the guy. To be fair, I did add to it by putting a picture of him dressed as Santa Claus when he was at Huddersfield on social media as well, because he looks so miserable with his Santa. It makes me laugh every time I see him.
But again, the cynic of me is like, what did he get? 5.5-year contract, Matt? And then obviously that'll be nicely paid up. And I'm sure the 2 promotions.
I think that would have been a money. I think that'd have been a money situation where an amount of money spread out longer.
I didn't realise how hopeless they were, Matt. I must admit, I don't dissect the table like I used to, but they were like, I didn't realise how far they were pretty much done and dust. Well, pretty much out of it really to get having any hope. So because the Port Vale normally bring good followings and stuff, and especially a Boxing Day, that it will pour without one. That just shows where people are with it with their club at the moment. And obviously, we've seen us kind of followings not dwindle, but not being as good as they are.
They have dwindled. That wasn't a very good attendance for Boxing Day of people in the ground. But
I think
that's
a fair point.
At the minute.
Kilnabank match seems to be just like decimated, but compared to any other stand, I mean, the North Stand's always been a bit empty, but that Kilner's really where you can see the effect of the lower attendances now.
I think that's the one, isn't it? But anyway, enough from us, cause let's hear what the Andy Takes That Chance squad have had to make. The button is flashing red, and I think it's time to go to the answer machine.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Bouvet.
Hello, there is no one here to take your call, so for your convenience we have answered it automatically. Now don't hang up. When you hear the tone, leave your name and a brief message, and we will contact you upon our return.
What's up, guys? It's Marcus doing the Port Vale review. Hope everybody's had a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate. 5-0 against Port Vale, a really good win. Look, there's a lot of anxiety over, Lee Grant and whether he's the right man for the job, but, he got it right, and we won 5-0. I mean, was it absolutely outstanding? No, but there were moments where it was, and I thought some of the football we played for the goals is really, really good, and we were so clinical. Thought Bojan was absolutely fantastic up front, and Alfie May ran his absolute socks off and got a very well-deserved goal, and a very well-taken goal. Then Castledine with 2 really good finishes. I mean, that second is... Bojan's got his hands on his head because of how good he thought it was. But yeah, overall a good day. Were there parts of the game that were flat? Yeah, I thought there were. It wasn't perfect overall, and there's still more we could have done. That last 15 minutes were a bit dire, but anyway, we're not going to complain about 5-0 on Christmas. We'll move on to Northampton and we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know. I'm like other fans. I don't know. Are they fully convinced by Lee Grant yet? But I mean, if we continue winning like this, you're going to get convinced eventually. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, like I say, hope everybody's had a nice holidays. And on to the next one, up the town.
John McNamara, Northern Ireland's most handsome man here, coming to you live a couple of minutes after Huddersfield Town have just routed Port Vale 5-0 at the Aku Stadium. Wasn't that absolutely bloody lovely? 5-0, and we scored some fantastic goals. And there were real obvious patterns of play there where we were exploiting Port Vale's weaknesses. And, as Matt said a couple of weeks ago on the podcast, it's almost as if there's an international level analyst in the building that's giving Lee Grant advice on how to set up during games. And, we're playing really, really well now. So that's 8 goals in 2 games. And I actually can't wait for the Northampton game, which is a first for me this season. I've not been looking forward to Huddersfield Town games at all this season. So, yeah, onwards and upwards. Kevin Nangle in.
Hi there, everyone. Merry Christmas. This is Jimmy Islip reflecting on the Boxing Day goal feast that we saw yesterday. We were sat behind the goal second half, and that 4th and 5th goal were really, really good. And it's just really nice to see a team confident and enjoying themselves. And hopefully performances like that and potentially another win against Northampton will give us the platform for next year to really kick on. So totally buzzing. And then I get in the car, stick BBC Radio Leeds on. First guy, total Grant out, saying we need a manager with a nasty streak. I mean, I just don't think that is what is called for now and these days in football. And then the next caller, hopefully Huddersfield Town can get back to where we belong. I mean, maybe I've got a longer memory, but I think where Huddersfield Town belongs is probably the bottom of the Championship. So I'd take a nice Boxing Day 5-0 win compared to that. But yeah, really enjoyed it. Great day out, and up the town.
This is Malcolm Mergetside from Marvin calling in again here. I've just been sat at home watching this game on that bloody you fella, and I tell you what, I'm bloody fuming. I had to listen to these Port Vale commentators, and they were talking their biggest load of tripe about my football club during that. They said bloody Radulovic and Lee Grant wanted to get yellow cards for whether they had to foul him first. I tell you, that fella then again who fouled him, he should have been walking him. He should have got a red card and a 7-match ban. It was absolutely bloody unbelievable. And bloody Leo Castledeans fired one in. Beautiful. I've never seen a goal like that. Absolutely bloody fantastic. The last goal I've seen like that at Huddersfield Stadium that was so good were Gaztaz Faz 500,000th goal in EFL. Beautiful goal that one. Anyway, the Port Vale commentators were saying it were bloody rubbish. So I don't know if you've got any sway with these lads. I know you're brave and strong with bloody Paul Ogden. I don't know if you've got any sway with bloody BBC Radio Stoke. But if you do, Matthew, I want you to get on phone to them and I want you to say bloody smarten up. And don't be talking about my football club like that. Anyway, over and out.
Hey, James Bartby, reflecting on our Boxing Day result. Superb performance. Really, really was easily the best of the season so far. Obviously, against a team that is clearly not cut out for League One football. Absolutely. I don't think I've ever seen a worse team than Port Vale yesterday. But, some of the play we did was absolutely fantastic. Now, the goals we scored were brilliant. Leo just doesn't score tap-ins, does he? Our goal of the season competition is going to be just his goals. Really, really good performance. We need to follow it up, though, against a slightly better team in Northampton, team that we seem to struggle against for some reason. But if we can get another 3 points, hopefully push ourselves up into that top 6 and then push on from there. But, not much else to say, really. Really good performance, really, really good goals, clean sheet, 3 points, happy Christmas, up the town.
Hi, Colin from Manchester here. Enjoyed that today. Thought that Town were full value for the win. I think it did so without having to be particularly brilliant. If I'm honest, I thought Vale were just terrible. What I've kind of come to expect from seeing sort of Darren Moore teams, having had him here, made it very easy for us. But I think competent is going to carry us a long way this season. And so over the last couple of games, I think our defence is looking very assured. Joe Lowe looked quite dominant again today, as he did against Rotherham. I think we just kind of look good in little spells, and it's enough with the quality at our disposal to kind of pull sides apart. I guess what I'm interested to sort of see is against the better organised teams, and maybe a bit of a tester of that will be Northampton in a few days' time. Teams that are a bit more organised, that maybe are willing to sit in and stop us sort of having as much space as we've had today in that final third. What happens with those sorts of teams, and then certainly obviously Lincoln away. But I think competent will be enough for us to sort of put a lot of sides to bed. We've just got to cut out the silly goals that we kind of keep conceding. But yeah, brilliant result today. Onwards and upwards up the town.
Hi, this is Kaz Kazington here, calling in from Bamber Bridge. I've just listened to Game On Radio, and I just want to say that we're absolutely bloody fantastic. Where were all of yous? Where are all of yous negative boys? I'm talking to you, negative Kilroy Silk. Saying bloody Lee Grant's the worst manager we've ever had. Oh, saying bloody Kevin Nangle needs to leave. I tell you what, we're only 5 points off second. We're going to hammer Northampton and we'll beat Lincoln away. Mark my words. I said mark my words. And we'll go into New Year second in table. The future's bright. The future's blue and white.
Rubbish manager! Darren Moorey's shite army!
The mailbox is full and cannot accept any messages at this time. Goodbye.
Okay, thanks to the squadlings there. I think there's a rogue Port Vale fan maybe got in amongst the pigeons there. Boys, let's break this down a little bit now. Let's go off football for a second. It was Christmas Day the other day. There's always a bit of a debate about what should go on a Christmas dinner, isn't there? Whether Yorkshire puddings belong on it, whether they don't. I mean, I'm a Yorkshire pudding guy. Yorkshire pudding for any meal for me. I'm happy with that. Poz, you look like a guy who could be argumentative when it comes to food. I think the only thing that doesn't belong on a Christmas dinner is a shitty nut roast, what Killer will have had. It's a time for meat, I think. What about you? What did you have on Christmas Day? What belongs on a Christmas Day plate for Mr. Porritt?
Well, we hosted this year, mate, so it was crazy at our house, as it is in many households up and down the country. So we had, what did we have? We had lamb, we actually had chicken rather than turkey, just for ease more than all else, but a nice little white meat and pork. So we had a three meat selection, and then trimmings. We had peas, carrots, broccoli, roast potatoes, mashed potato, parsnips, sprouts. Yeah, we have a rule in our house: everyone has to have at least one sprout every Christmas. That's the rule. So yeah, and Yorkshire puddings, mate. Yeah, we did have Yorkshire puddings. I don't see why it's so controversial. I think if you like them, you have them. If you don't, you don't. You know what I mean? I think Christmas Day should be. Do you know what I mean? Christmas Day is one of them, innit? Just have what you want. I know someone who were going out for a curry, and a lot of people would have been up in arms about that, but. If that's what you want, that's what you want, innit? Yeah. But yeah, I'm a Christmas pudding man, mate, and get it all piled on. I'm not one of these that has a little bit and goes back, and then like 2 or 3 times, just get it piled up.
Just
stick a load of gravy on it and smash it down, mate.
Get it moist.
You got to have gravy. You can't have it dry.
Yeah. My brother obviously is a pig farmer. He owns a pig farm, so we had.
Nice.
We had a joint of ham for Christmas dinner. Usually we have either a good beef joint or turkey, but he went for the old Christmas ham this year.
Nice. Good. I like ham day after meat, a bit of cold meat and just a bit. In fact, I came down the Boxing Day, opened it up, and I just saw like roast potatoes, and I thought, pre-match meal there, bit of gravy for my breakfast.
In a sandwich.
Few roast potatoes, massive tea cake, mate. The moist mate.
There you go. That's the stuff. There you go. I think me and you could quite happily fit into each other's Christmas lunches.
Welcome anytime, mate. Welcome anytime.
Another person who had a different kind of Christmas lunch this year was Mr. Kosmala. Mr. Kosmala, you decided this year that you were going to go out, didn't you? And brave the pubs of
yeah. I'm not going to name the pub because there was 1 or 2 errors, shall we say. But when Lee Nichols kicked the ball over the stand, where we were eating wasn't too far away where the ball went over the Riverside stand. I'll leave it as much as that. No, we did go into 1908 Club. And
Down Spice Takeaway, mate. Is that where you were?
Anyway,
it's an interesting choice.
All you need to do is just look at my interview with New York Talk Pod because we discussed this kind of stuff and that as well. But Yorkshire pudding was the first time, and I got a discussion with my dad and my sister. I can't recall a Yorkshire pudding ever being on our Christmas meal. And my mum, bless her soul, what would she would have made of a Yorkshire pudding? It would have been a controversial comment, but I think they belong on their Yorkshire puddings, And another thing that I mentioned on that when we met at New York Talk, Sprouts, much hated Sprouts, the Dion Charleses of the Christmas table, love them or hate them. The Neil Warnocks of the, I always think Sprouts, Neil Warnocks, you love them or hate them, I love my Sprouts. But honestly,
I love a Sprout, mate. I love a Sprout.
Really good. I'll tell you what, we had a weird thing. I've never seen it before. It looked like a dough ball or something with a big round thing, and I didn't know what it was. And I said to my sister, "What is that?" And she said, "Is it seasoning or something?"
Stuffing,
that's it. Yeah, I didn't know what it was. Yeah, it was like a big round thing, and it was like I think if you dropped it on my foot, it'd broke it. It was like I didn't touch it. It was a weird thing. It looked like them footballs from 1930s, when they were kicking off at FA Cup and that. But but the meal really good. It just we didn't get what we wanted, but that's another story. But it was good. And the best thing about eating out at Christmas is washing up. Yeah, exactly that, Poz. So we came back home. We watched Andrew Flintoff, who's turned bullseye. I mean, again, interesting. First, I've never watched Bullseye since Jim Bowen left, but it was good. I enjoyed it. Then that weird thing where people are going around in a wheel on BBC, was it McIntyre, when they jump in and out of a wheel and that, and everyone claps and dances and all that. Yeah, but the best thing was that 1% club. Honestly, that Lee Mack, you were talking about his penis so much. I couldn't believe what he was saying, to be honest, after 9 o'clock at night. But what a quiz that is, because I absolutely love it. My sister got the 1% question right, and she's dining off it now. She's Castle Deaning off it now. Mate. Yeah, but yeah, Cosmala Family Christmas. I watched Strictly and Pozza. I love that. Brian McFadden, mate. Put some timber on, but he's still the heartthrob, mate. That old.
Shall I tell you a true story, Cosy?
Yeah.
Back in the day,
you're going to say you like him.
Yeah, I used to get Brian McFadden all the time. He copies his hair from me every time since we've been 19 years old. He's copied.
Matt, this is when we bring in this concert that's coming in. These old faded giants playing at the Echo.
Yeah, there's the Huddersfield Rock thing, whatever it's called.
Yeah, that's Rock in HD. What it's called.
Tony Hadley.
Perfect link.
Tony Hadley. Yeah, Tony Hadley and a few others. Interesting. We'll see how that goes. We'll see how much tickets are before committing as to whether to go to that. Do you know what would be good for a Christmas present this year for Lyndon Gooch would have been a pair of shin pads, because he was on the gift. It was on the end of a gift from Jaheim Headley, where he's absolutely raked him, which probably a red card, which the referee completely missed. And I don't know if you've seen the pictures of his shin, but it's absolutely in ruins. You know, he's got 4 stud marks and blood pouring down. I think they ended up washing it and putting Vaseline on and stopping it. And he had a great game to Gooch. I thought it was brilliant, as he was against Rotherham as well. I think that he's probably saved 2 of his best performances in a Town shirt for quite some time. When I say quite some time, he's only played for us for about 5 months. But probably the best performances since the start of the season. I thought he was excellent. Pos maybe just needs to get himself a couple of Umbros with the ankle rolls rather than those new ones, which are like the size of a stamp.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? The rule is you have to wear shin pads, but there's no specific size, is there? And I think obviously grown men can go out and play football in whatever shin pads are like, but if there's going to be tackles flying in like they do, you can't really complain that. You're getting granted, it's probably it is a bad tackle looking at it, especially where the raking has gone down. But shin pads are there, protects your shins, aren't they? And I think it just sends a bad message to young players and grassroots players and kids. They all turn up in these little miniature. I don't let my team wear them, wear under 11s unless they've got at least a good 50% shin covering on. Then I've told parents, look, don't be turning up in these. They buy the grip socks, don't they? I think is it. The company, but they send a little miniature. Jack's got some, and they're like matchbox size, and I says, "There's no way you're wearing them, mate, because you'll end up getting hurt."
I bought Charlie some bigger ones because he got the time. I bought him some of the small ones because obviously he is small. He got a really nasty kick on his shin, so I bought some.
Yeah, you've got to protect yourself, haven't you? It's one of them. I suppose, like I said, the grown men they know the dangers of playing football and stuff like that. But it just seems to be a bit of a trend at the minute, doesn't it? The low sock and really small.
So Thomaston, do you remember Shaqiri used to do it, didn't he, when he played for Stoke?
Yeah. Well, it was Steve Claridge, wasn't it, back in the day? He used to just have one for some reason. I think he used to have one sock pulled up and one down for some reason. And whether or not the controls better.
Kosi will acknowledge that he was a shithouse back in the day.
Where's he these days? He just totally disappeared off face of the earth, media-wise and stuff, hasn't
he? Yeah. But anyway,
let's killed that conversation.
He carried on, didn't they? So there can't be any long-lasting damage. But it's just one of those, isn't it?
Bring back the Football League show with Manish and Steve Claridge. Come on, Lizzie with her emails or whatever. That's when Joe Lynch's Thunder Bastard were on. Anyway, sorry for destroying the agenda. Great.
We'll move on because Netflix on the Friday before Christmas had the extravaganza, didn't it? It had Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul, where we were all hoping that Anthony Joshua would do the world a favour and knock him out within 30 seconds. Unfortunately, it went on 6 rounds. But one match that went on a little less than that was on the undercard, Herbie Sugarcane and Marcus the Enforcer Harness. I mean, I don't really want to talk about this too much, but we've seen the videos, haven't we, that were circulating online. I thought the abuse that they got was completely ridiculous. If you see a player out and about, just ignore them if you don't like them. But I mean, Harvey Kane can't really be doing what he does. But footballers are human. If you abuse them for a good solid half an hour, and you take the piss out of his hair, etc., he does have a massive bald patch like Killer. So if you take the piss out of his hair, etc., and he's had a few drinks, he's going to snap, isn't he? And I mean, Marcus Harness is trying to calm it down for the most part, to be fair to him. But Herbie, he's to be fair, he's been out with an injury, but he's moving well now, Poz, so he can't be too far away because he was almost.
It looked like ball lane in Leeds, didn't he? He was up and down there pretty sharpish, so he must have been doing some shuttle runs in training to get up to that. But I think, like you say, I think they've been quite lucky as well, the fact that we won, because I think I don't really have a problem with them having a go back at someone who's having a go at them for whatever reason. But I think the most, I would say, concerning thing, but the disappointing thing for me were when they were out, if you know what I mean. It's a busy run of games, and everyone's obviously got a right to a private life. But when you're out and you're drinking and smoking as well, I know people will say, well, it doesn't really matter if they smoke, the professional athletes, etc., but you can't help, can it? So that's not a great look.
No, the drinking no and smoking no. I mean, going out, I'm all for it.
Going out is fine, isn't it? You go out and have a meal.
The first thing I could say is you go back to the 94-95 season video. I know times have moved on, but one of the things that he says before you prepare for the playoffs is you've got to have your piss up. You've got to go out, you've got to bond as a team. You've got to get together. You've got to enjoy each other's company, because it's important. I mean, putting the smoking and drinking to one side, which I didn't see them do on the video, by the way. It's just it was stated, wasn't it? But yeah, and I don't know when it was actually from either. They didn't say what the date was. I know the guys have been up to Dublin, haven't they, on a Christmas do, and some people had a problem with that, but I didn't. I think it's great for team morale and building a team spirit, and we've come back and won both games after doing that. So
sometimes when you're struggling, the last thing you want to do is do more of the same thing, innit? So we're struggling, let's train more, and I think that's a bit of an old school mentality, innit? Like you say, Matt, no problem. A couple of days away, relax, reset your mind, etc.
The human beings, Poz. The human beings. I know people say they get paid lots, but they get a lot more pressure than what me and you do as well. So they do need a little downtime, and when they do have some downtime, I think they deserve to be left alone. In all honesty, unless you're going to go up and I'm sure they'd have a chat with you if you were nice and normal. But if you're going to abuse them, just don't bother.
Yeah, it's just in there were a little Marcus Harness, he fights who he wants chant, which I think that might be the new little chant for him. So, sometimes stuff like that can actually build a relationship with everyone else. I know it sounds a bit of a weird thing to say, but one guy's had a pop and everyone's kind of rallied behind players, which I thought were actually an interesting response, because I thought the majority would be, and maybe the guy who posted it thought that's what would happen as well. So it's actually been quite nice that a lot of people acknowledge that they are, like you say, just normal humans, and if you're getting goaded, you're going to potentially have a bit of a go back, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. But
I think, just this was it. Club have probably had a word, draw a line under it, and move on.
Yeah, and move on. Castledine last week, Killer had Lee Grant dancing in front of him, and despite getting the score of 3-1 against Rotherham perfectly right, and almost all three goal scorers, he did say that he was quite confident Leo Castledine would be going nowhere. And then the day after, there's a story in the Daily Mirror and or Daily Star, one of the two, that he potentially might be moving on in January, been recalled and sold, which I did, not to toot my own horn, but I did say that I can't see him going on loan anywhere, but a recall and a sale might not be beyond the realms of impossibility. Bristol City have been mentioned. Someone I know spoke to someone at Bristol City or a Bristol City fan who said they are sailing quite close to the financial PSR. They don't have PSR anymore. They have financial fair play in the Championship, so they're not sure they'll be able to pay a lot of money for someone at the minute. And I don't really see him going on loan to the Championship, just basically because I don't think he's quite there for a top end side pushing, and he'll see less of the ball at the lower end, and I don't think he'd quite be in the shop window like he would be with us. So I suppose it depends what Chelsea are after, but with him, his contract's due to expire at Chelsea pretty shortly, I think in the summer, so I imagine Chelsea would look at this as a potential to get some money for him.
Who makes the decision here?
Chelsea.
Right, so...
Basically.
Yeah, and then I think it's just because the stage of the contract, I don't think Castledown's going to have much say in it, is it? Which seems surreal, doesn't it, when it's like,
players just get told these days, don't they?
Yeah.
They just seem to get told, you go in here, you go there. And I think that's what he alluded to when he did his interview when Catherine Hanna asked him from Radio BBC.
I saw a tweet from Dookie who bumped into on Saturday in the aforementioned pub, actually. I did mention a couple of guys were adamant that Bristol City would have done a deal. I love some of the best rumours.
It's definitely not a deal.
Yeah, I know. But that, mate, if it's in the Crown in Huddersfield and it's said in there, then you know it's a done deal. But no.
Which is not where you had something to do when you had your Christmas dinner, by the way, was it?
Yeah, no, definitely. I can rule that out.
We'll just say Crown for a
moment.
moment.
Spoons were shut as well, so I'll rule that out. But yeah, but like Duke's put a tweet out last night. I don't agree with him, but obviously he can come back at me. He knows where I am and stuff. But he said it would. Well, maybe he didn't want to say it, but he was kind of saying we just move on. If it goes, he goes. But I just think it'd be a hammer blow. It'd be a huge blow.
We're knackered.
Yeah, I think we're absolutely knackered. I think he's that important to us, Matt. I agree. I get what Dukes is saying, kind of like, yeah, there's someone else or whatever, but we've struck gold here and we don't want to lose him. So, like you texted us, Matt, I think after I scored his goal, and I think about 15 minutes in, you messaged me just saying, why couldn't it happen in 2 weeks later?
Like
a month
4 weeks
later or whatever. Yeah.
Shithouse, yeah. It needed to be Ben Wiles scoring all these goals now, didn't it? And then Castledown kicking in a month later just to...
the trouble is, when you think about all this decision-making, who's going to make it and everything, it feels like, obviously, we're kind of helpless, really, to so many parties. Matt, do you think it'd be a bit different if, say, he had 3 years left in his Chelsea contract?
I think we'd be quite comfortable if Chelsea had plans for him genuinely to go into their first team, then I think we'd be fine. I think that keep because we've had a good relationship with Chelsea, haven't we? With Casey Palmer, Trevor Chalobah, we've had Lee Colwell, Frank Sinclair. We've had some good loans from there. We've done quite well with Chelsea players, so you hope that. But it is the loan manager for Chelsea is Josh Marsh, who was our former recruitment manager, who got a lot of hate from Town fans about 5 or 6 years ago. So we'll just be interested to see how he kind of.
We didn't mean it really, Josh.
Yeah, Josh. I'll tell you what, someone
sent him a Christmas card or something.
There was some great tweets coming out. Did you see that one that had a picture of Chelsea? This is Ben Wiles. Please take it.
This is Leo Castledown. A picture of Ben Wiles.
There's been some absolute. Twitter could be a strange place on X, but honestly, there've been some gunners this week, and that made me laugh at that. But yeah, we're just waiting up. But it's just
I'm less confident this week of what it is, but we'll have to wait and see. If I hear anything, I'll mention it on the pod. But at the minute, from when I asked 1 or 2 people, basically. There's nothing to report at the minute. Nothing's done, but Town are obviously hopeful that he'll stay, but it's not up to Town. Like Lee Grant said in his presser, it's not up to Town, it's up to Chelsea. And if they want to pull him out and send him, the loan will have a break clause, and then whereby they can come and send him. So we'll have to wait.
My Leo away.
Hopefully he's still there. Right, so if you were on the naughty list this Christmas, you may have received a little leaflet on sellotape to your seat. Kosi, Poz, did you get a leaflet sellotape to your seat this weekend?
I've never been in the same seat twice, Matt, so they can't track me. I've had more stands and different seats and people giving me their tickets than ever, but no. The question I want to ask,
I probably don't want to say that on a podcast when you're not allowed to do that, but we'll move on quickly there. But
can we just cut that out?
He's only joking. He's got his own.
Can I just ask? Because I saw this tweet, and obviously, I'm going to call him Nangle, but that account is Nangle, makes me laugh. But was this just like in a sporadic area? Was it just one seat here, one seat there? Was it almost like kind of?
I think it was behind League. So I've got it in front of me. It says, we have received complaints in this area relating to inappropriate behaviour, including smoking, vaping, and persistent use of foul, abusive and or discriminatory language. If this happens today or at another home game, please immediately text the stadium report it number below. Your report will be what does that say? Treated in confidence, and then there's the number. I think the idea behind this was that there's been some obviously unsavoury incidents wherever this is in the stadium, and they've put these on seats for people to be able to report it if it's heard.
So it's not.
I think I think the people that have got it have actually taken it to mean that they're the ones that have been. But I think that's the wrong way around of what's been intended. I think there's been some reports in the area, and they've put this leaflet down to say, right, if you hear anything, text us because we want to clamp down on it. And I mean, it's got the usual response from people saying, "Oh, football, it's football. You should be allowed to swear, etc." I think there's a line, isn't there, with what you can and can't say at football. I think swearing to a point. I'd take a 7-year-old. Don't really want to listen to him or have him near someone who's frothing at the mouth, using all sorts of words. But it is what it is. It's football, and I can educate him. But I think there are certain lines that can be crossed, and I think this is pretty vague. And I think if people are crossing the line, then what do you do? I just tend to try and ignore people. But when you're with kids, and if there are people that are more sensitive to it, then there's an outlet. And I don't really have a strong opinion either way on this. I understand why people want to report it. I understand why people think it's football. Get on with it. Go sit in the family stand. I'm quite easy.
I just think it's weird though, Matt. If I'd have walked in and my seat's got that on it, I'd be like, if there's a row of them, or normally, like I remember it happened at Edinley, and like there was a big sign that went up in the old South Stand and text this and that and the other and stuff. I know they have it on the scoreboard, but it just felt weird that that one seat's got. It's almost like, hang on a minute, but it's almost like you've grassed someone up, so please text. I think you think it's just. I just thought it was a bit weird, but especially even weirder when obviously Kevin Nagle kind of were tweeting about it in the early hours, saying the first I've heard of it, which made me think, because I could get maybe KSDL, and I suppose he doesn't know everything that goes on in the stadium, but it's like it's his stadium, and someone's putting this sticker on and then part of me thinks, is it a fuss about nothing? But then I'm thinking, well, hang on a minute, if I'm there and all of a sudden I've got that sticker, and then it's like no one else has it within, I don't know, 100, 200 seats. I'm just thinking,
that'd be weird. That'd be really weird. But I don't know if that is the case. Pause for stuff like this. Context is king, isn't it? It's
100%. Yeah, it's
all about it's all about what's been said. I mean, if someone's stood up frothing racist and xenophobic behaviour, then it deserves reporting. But if someone's just gone, upset town, get a grip,
100%.
Then that's not a big deal, is it?
I agree with you. But it'd be interesting to see if there were more, like you say, more than one. And my only thinking is on that specific seat, because someone's reported and gone, there's a person on row C, row A, seat 1 or whatever it was that's been doing this, and it's just but they will know who that person is. So could they have done it privately if that's the case or whatever? But if it's just serving as a general reminder to people in that area, then it's on. I've seen people saying, it should be on toilets and it should be on scoreboard.
But the thing is that
it is in all those places.
It's been on the scoreboard for about 10 years.
And it always goes out on the social media before and stuff. So sometimes it seemed to me like just a little bit more of a direct reminder to a very specific area. Look, this is not appropriate. Can you just maybe think about your actions?
Maybe hand them out as you go in, couldn't you? That probably.
Just maybe target more than just one specific seat if it was. Just on if it's just a bit of swearing, then it's probably a little bit over the top. But if people are being racist and homophobic and whatever else, then it needs to be clamped down on, because as much as it's football, inverted commas, it don't give you the right to just be a dick. Let's be honest. What I mean? It's one of those, and I've seen some people on football, on football Twitter as it's called, say, it's football. People need to kind of grow up and all that sort of stuff. But you won't walk into a restaurant, would you, and call waiter X, Y, and Z? So why does it give you the right to call a football similar or someone else in crowd or whatever? So just a storm in a teacup for me. I think maybe the club could have handled a little bit better. But I'm with Kosi. My main kind of worry with it, but it's like, people have been dying for some sort of communication from Kevin Nagle for 5 weeks whilst we've been absolutely terrible. And then he's picked up on something so minuscule, and not only has he put a very strangely worded tweet out, that's very contradictory. He's called his staff out the
first thing he should do is ring Jake
and find out why has that happened, rather than putting it on Twitter. So, that's a bit strange as well, but that's the thing with people being on social media.
The only thing is, like, them fans, I know it's banter and people might say talking box, but them Facebook thing where it's football away days and all that kind of stuff.
It goes viral throughout.
That carries a big clout, and then it doesn't look good on the club, and then it's like, I know they do so much, trying to they try and get people arguing too much on them stuff now. I've gone off that a little bit, but it is like, I think the point were kind of valid that they were trying to make is like you shouldn't be targeting, but then obviously then they go like, hey, hang on a minute, that's the first I know of it. So it was just a strange thing to do. I just
It's probably a better way to do it.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking if like I get like storming a ticket, but if I'm Huddersfield, right, put these stickers on a few of these seats. It's like they could have just put a post out on Saturday saying, by the way, you might notice in the stadium this, that, and the other, just to reiterate. So then people would know. But it was just a strange thing that just erupted out of nothing. Typical after the 5-0. But like I say,
I think funniest thing about it was I think the kid who put the picture on, his mum was saying, "Oh, can you on these Facebook, but can someone credit my son because it's gone viral and he's disappointed he's not got credited?" And I'm thinking, that's like, why are you worried about that? Given the message on the thing. But I guess the world we live in, everybody wants to be somebody, don't they? And he's obviously a little bit upset that he didn't get his 5 minutes of fame because he took a photo of a leaflet in a football stadium. But yeah, for me, I think he's just one of them, innit? It's just a storm in a teacup, really.
Yeah, I think so. So we'll move on, right, boys? Do you know what? You guys have never, I don't think, Kosi, I'm not sure if you've been on it before, but you guys have never really been on a driving episode, have you? So I think we need to very briefly look forward to Northampton because we play them tomorrow.
Can't believe we played them so quick. I only went to their ground about 2 weeks ago and had cottage pie.
Kosi, cues, silence. Queuing up a thing. But anyway, moving on from Kosi's ADHD, we'll quickly move on to this next section.
Undiagnosed.
Okay, so strap in, boys and girls. It's time for a pitch geography lesson with Mr. Grant. Right, boys, so on screen at the minute, we've got our system all lined up at the moment.
Make it a bit further zoomed out, Matt.
I'm going to say, get me looking those like, hang on a minute.
Forget that. Push you now, and you can't see. Right, so we've got the lineup at the minute in what we think will be a 3-5-2. We don't think at the minute Lee Grant will change a winning system, although he has done it before. But I think with Northampton coming, I think he's likely to kind of stay very similar, especially when there's no time on the grass, as they say now, between matches. So I think for Town, I think it's going to be a very, very straightforward team selection. Question-wise, in goal is obviously going to be Lee Nichols, so we'll chuck Lee Nichols in goal down here. The back three, Lee Grant has said that there have been some injuries and there have been a few little bits of bouts of sickness and other parts around. I think one of the questions will be, boys, would you play Radinho Balca at right centre-back given his issues with playing 2 games in a week? And I think that might be something that Lee Grant looks at as well. Would you stick with him? And because the other argument is when we took him out against Luton, it kind of messed with everything a little bit, didn't it? Would you stick with, or would you?
This is a real tough one, I think, because Lincoln. It's not just that we're playing Lincoln so soon, and it's Lincoln. Well, it is Lincoln, but it's the way they play, mate, and the fact that we're away and they're physical. This is a bit of a not nightmare because we've got the squad to kind of rotate and do a few things, but he's on hiding to nothing tomorrow, is Grant, and I just think you've got to, even if we win 1-0 and he's kind of fudged it and it's just has come down on last 2 performances. There's some of those people who say, well, the footballers that can do that, but I just want us to. Oh God, it's a tough one here. What a two-face after what I was saying, like that Luton and picking on him. But I don't know if I think I might.
Sean Rowan could play left centre back. You could play Sean Rowan at left centre back and move Wallace to the middle and look.
Would you rest Wallace, mate? But to be fair, the defence didn't really do a lot on Saturday. That's the only thing going in the favour of keeping.
We did that, didn't it? Was that the back three towards back end of the Port Vale match, if I remember rightly?
Yeah, he brought Sean Rowan. Yeah,
then he played Ruskin as a left wing back, Matt, which I'm sure you won't be happy with.
So the back three that we had was Wallace, Lowe and Balca. I think that's the question, is it? Sean Rowan, where does Sean Rowan fit into this team? At the minute he's playing left wing back, but like I said, you can take Balca out, put him on the bench, put Joe Lowe across the right, Wallace in the middle, and then Sean Rowan as a left centre back, and that might be a temptation.
I think that's what I would do, Matt. To be honest,
yeah.
I think is it Eves as well who plays up front is quite big and physical, and I think if I remember rightly, Bolka played down at Northampton. Kosi, correct me if I'm wrong, and struggled a little bit.
In the middle. He played in the middle of a three. He played last season. He played in the middle of a three, but he played more wider, and I think Eves was picked up a bit more by Lowe and the others on that day. But so Rowan again. Rowan's not much better in the air than Balker, probably worse. But
you'd have to say Wallace and mark him then, wouldn't you? If you're thinking about it, logically.
Yeah. I think so. So I think that'll be our back three for now. Are we going to go Rowan over Balker? Do you think? What was
I would do, Matt.
I would, yeah. I'd rather Balker play against Lincoln.
I think Sorensen comes in. Yeah, I think Sorensen might come in right wing back. Yeah, I think they kind of alternate quite a lot, don't they?
Do you gamble that we're going to start with something stronger and maybe like Saturday, maybe we're 2 up after an hour? And I don't know. I just don't know. I'm trying to think if I'm Lee Grant, what would I do? It's obviously the point of doing this, but it is a weird one. I'm just thinking we just need everything left in the tank for that Lincoln game because it's going to be such a brutal physical battle and a massive game that if honestly, ideally, imagine just being 2 up again, just like after 50 minutes. But then the trouble is, then you start to make changes. They get one back, and do you just kind of put your foot to the floor as long as you can? What do you do here?
A little bit out of form.
The thing is, after Lincoln, you've got a game on Sunday, haven't you, as well? So you can't even say, well, after Lincoln, at least there's a bit of a break because you've got a game Sunday against Exeter to come to think of as well. So this week there's like 4 games, isn't there?
Mad.
Yeah, so
3 games.
Tomorrow on the 1st. So the 1st is Thursday. So we've got
Monday, Thursday, Sunday.
And then on
3
Sunday,
games in 6 days. Wow.
Exeter at 3 o'clock. So it's
nice local derby there, yeah, on a Sunday.
Yeah, so very difficult. So we'll see. And then we've only got 6 days till Stockport, and then 3 days till Rotherham at home. We've got Rotherham again. So it's very fast and furious at the minute, which is why I think Sorensen might come back in at right wing back, and they'll continue to rotate Gooch and Sorensen around a little bit. I think in terms of midfield at the minute, Harness and Ledson are kind of undroppable, but they kind of managed their way through games as well, to the credit of them. I think Kasuma will come on at some point and give one of them a rest, but they're very good at kind of managing themselves. They're both physically fit, aren't they, in terms of being able to do number of matches, number of minutes. I think they'll still both play in midfield, but I do think Kasuma will be on at one point to give one of them a rest and keep them fresh for Lincoln. And that means on the left that will have to be Ruben Ruskin will come back in as a left wing back. Do you keep the Dine at number 10? You've got to keep him in. That Vignier is the player in form at the minute. You don't want him to get injured before the Lincoln game, but he will no doubt start. And then I think Alfie May and Boyan will be the finishing, which gives us that team on paper. Any advances from you two shenanigans on that one?
No, I don't think so, mate. I think certainly, there's some undroppable players at the moment in your triangle there up front, your front three. You don't want to be really messing with that. You don't really want to be messing with anyone, do you? Really, after the last few games.
No, it's difficult because of the amount of games.
It's just timing, isn't it? If you were talking a week down the line, you'd just be saying carry on as was. But it's the amount of games in such a short space of time, isn't it?
So Northampton themselves, they tend to play a very similar system, which is why I think Town will keep and persevere with the back three, because they have tended to match up the opposition as well recently, and Northampton do tend to play a 3-4-3 or a 3-4-1-2 system, so they will no doubt come in this shape here. Who they'll have in the team, Fitzsimmons tends to play in goal. Rather interestingly, they lost 5-1 to Burton on Saturday. They were 4-0 down after 44 minutes, and Kevin Nolan's taken off the entire back three before half-time, or at half-time. So one of them's gone off on 38 minutes. I'm not sure if there's an injury. And then the other two centre-backs have gone off at 46. So he's removed the entire defence, which usually is Thornley, Dyche, son of Sean, Max Dyche, and then McCarthy. So that potentially Burrows, Willis, and Forbes could be the replacements who fared slightly better by only conceding 1 in the second half. But Nestor Guinness-Walker, son of or grandson of Alec Guinness from Star Wars,
goal scorer, sliding in on his knees like that other Tuesday like
that. And then you've got Hoskins potentially right wing back, although he was taken off at half time, so Kyle Edwards might play at that position. I think Elliot List came on and they switched system a little bit. Midfield, Taylor, McGeehan, Simon Swire in the position behind the front two. And the front two was Ethan Wheatley and our friend Tom Eaves. So an interesting game to come. Northampton do tend to go down the middle of the pitch, which is another reason why Town should stick to that back three. Wallace, we would hope, would pick up Tom Eaves, the experience of Murray Wallace, and then Wheatley can be picked up by Lowe and Rowan dropping in to make things a little bit narrower in there. Town will look to then maybe try and go one-on-one with the wing-backs themselves and try to get Castledine into this area here to cause all sorts of problems in front of the two defenders, which will then mean one of these two have to drop back. May will try and get through the channel here. Boyan will try and link in somewhere around here, but the key player as well will be Marcus Harness drifting into this sort of area, who will then look to either play down through for let's just see if we get this down for Sorensen to make this move here, or reverse ball in across here for Castledine with Giliver and through for May. So I think that's where Town will look to.
Back in there, isn't it?
And I think that is where basically Town will look to. Yeah, it's all right. I think that's where Town will look to try and win the game, and it'll be Harness, the one who they look to exploit things. And if you're thinking of what I've drawn basically there is the first goal against Port Vale Post, where he plays that from this position, he plays the ball to Castledine, who runs and then slots in the corner. So that is essentially where Town will look to play from this area here. And it is the same area here as to where Lee Grant's been trying to get Marcus Harness all season by bringing him in from that right-hand side in the 4-2-3-1 as well. So he's finally got Harness into that area. It just means that Ryan Ledson is your boy over here, who's got quite a lot of heavy lifting to try and take things. But that's how I think we'll line up. We'll keep things that way, boys.
Two more uninspiring Christmas fixtures in my lifetime at Huddersfield Town.
We used to get Carlisle on Boxing Day every time, didn't we?
Oh, the crowd tomorrow's going to be so low. It's going to be awful, man. I don't think there'll be more than 11,000-12,000 tomorrow.
Give them a prediction, Kosi. Give them a prediction as to, and then maybe we'll.
I'll tell you what I want to happen.
Why?
I want to have a nice, comfortable evening. Just players off after they get an hour again, like Saturday, and getting a rest on the bench, and but 2-0. But I never know what to think, Mark, when someone's being cupped. In the same way, I'm hoping that Carlisle can go to Bradford tomorrow. Port Vale go to Bradford tomorrow and do something. But it's when I saw that score flashing up, like say 4-0 after 44 minutes. Knowing Kevin Nolan like we do as obviously he took his back three and he's a provided character. I think there'll come be a big reaction to him. So I think I'm not saying banana skin, but maybe 3-1. But I'm not sure it's going to be the walkover that. I hope it is, but that we think tomorrow. But obviously I'm expecting all 3 points made.
Huddersfield Town haven't beaten Northampton in their last 4 league games. And that stretches back to 2008. So the last time Huddersfield beat in the league was 3-2 in 2000. So we've drawn away at Northampton in 2009. And then last year, obviously, they beat us twice when Michael Duff was manager and Tom Eaves absolutely ravaged us. And then this year we drew 1-1 down at their place. So that's 4 games where Town haven't got the win. So Northampton is a bit of a banana skin for us.
Oh, Rich was a part last year, Matt. That little guy. What was for Northampton? I forgot his name on now. The absolute tallest one, mate.
Was it Fosu? The guy.
Yeah, that was him, Fosu, mate. Yeah, unbelievable. Like unplayable.
Yeah. Right. Prediction times, boys. I'm going to go for Town to win this by a goal. I think I'm going to go 2-1. I think it's going to be a very bitty, awkward game, which I think Town will just get over the line. I think Alfie May might get a winner, and maybe a goal from someone like Gooch or Sorensen or something.
3-1 for me, Matt, for the Mighty Terriers.
Poswald?
3-1, mate.
Yeah, I'm same as you, Matt. I think the last two games expectations will be high going down there, but I don't think it'll be anywhere near as easy as what people may think. Given Northampton, they're a bit of a, just looking at the form, last 6, 1-2, drawn 1, lost 3, so they're a bit up and down, aren't they? And you can't really predict, I suppose, how they're going to come up, and are they going to look at our last two results and sit in and try and nick some, or are they going to come and try and play their game and
I think so.
Try to take the game to us? So it'll be interesting to see. I think they probably will sit in, and I'm with you. I'd go with a goal, 1-0, 2-1, something like that. Maybe 2-0. I'll stick with 2-0 because you said 2-1. I'll say 2-0. But I don't think it'll be easy, and I hope the crowd don't get overly frustrated if we're not kind of 2-0 quickly. I think it'll be one of those games where it'll be a bit more of a slog. But if we come through with 3 points, no injuries, I'm happy with that.
So there you have it. You've heard from Brian McDermott there. That will be 3-1 to Huddersfield. You've heard from Stephen Presley. That will be 2-1 to Huddersfield. You've heard from
I usually get David Moyes.
Adams says 2-1.
Brian McDermott. And Ginge Postecoglou says 2-0. Angry Ginge Postecoglou says 2-0 to Town. So, we'll move things on. So we'll finish on a sad note. Kosi, you wanted to just have a quick chat about Alan Giliver, who unfortunately passed away.
Obviously, some of the older fans will know him a bit more than some of the younger fans, and probably never heard of him. But he's my friend's dad, and what a guy! It's not often, mate, you get a player that's played for Bradford and Huddersfield and is loved both sides of the divide as well. So we're talking 60s when Alan Giliver, my dad. Obviously, was a hero of my dad's as well, and he was a striker. And he Lee Morris does some brilliant write-ups, doesn't he, of the past players and the historic things and that as well. Really, the club should be really grateful for what he does. But Alan Giliver was when he used to, because his son played a lot of cricket, so he used to walk around and stuff, and then I used to get in the scoreboard because. Even though probably his colours were Bradford because he did work for them and that as well, but he started his career for Huddersfield Town and he loved his time at Huddersfield Town and always had a soft spot in the heart. But he had one season where he was on fire like as a striker, and then they sold him, classic Town, they sold him to Blackburn at the time for 30 grand, which is like in today's money would have been a lot of money in that as well. And then he kind of, the crowd were like, not the rioting, but there was, I think if they'd been down at the mark, or Andy takes that chance back in the 60s and that as well, let's be fair, we'd have been filling kind of things of him and that as well. But yeah, just a fantastic guy. And yeah, sadly, in the same way as kind of Rob Burrow, really, he'll be kind of known as much for how he's fought his illness, which he got dementia with. And I think he had it for 11 to 13 years. He even did a documentary on BBC One about dementia and and obviously the talk, obviously, that we've seen with dementia with the old, footballs and things like that. It brought that into conversation as well. And it's really sad that, obviously, to see someone struck down with dementia. And a number of times I was scoring at these cricket games because he kind of lived near the Bingley area. So when I was scoring at Bingley, and he used to come round, and he still had that glint in his eye. And I used to sing Huddersfield when he'd come around at the scoreboard and that as well. And he used to smile at me and that as well. And yeah, it was really sad to hear that he passed away last week. And the Bradford, Bradford City have done, they had, I think, that minute's applause before their game on Saturday, and the last game, sorry, and that's when they played Wigan. And yeah, it's not, like I say, it's not often you get a player who's kind of got a foot in both kind of rival camps and things as well, but he's well loved. But yeah, it's a cruel thief, his dementia. I don't want to go too much into things, but it's affecting my family at the moment, I think. And yeah, it's sad, but he never lost his pride, never lost his spirit, and he always loved Huddersfield Town and that as well. So I was gutted to see the Facebook post from his son, Mark, but I suppose, yeah, he's at peace now and that as well. But yeah, just have a look at some of the history, the tribute that was put up in the site the other day and that as well. Just fantastic guy, and quite a lot of years at Huddersfield Town and that as well. Started his career there, and yeah, Alan Giliver, mate, good guy. Never let his condition get him down and that as well. And he'll be sadly missed by many. And yeah, rest in peace, mate.
Absolutely. So you may have seen him in the 70s and 80s around a lot of cricket grounds, like Brighouse apparently played for 8 years. Cause
Captain Cleckheaton and that as well. But honestly, son Mark's such a character and that as well. And I posted, I put everything that Town have put out on the on their kind of his Facebook page and that as well. They're getting a lot of love. So as I know only too well, recently when you get such a bereavement like that, someone so close and that as well, it gives you a lot of comfort that he please, these people that kind of please so many people as well. But he character just like his son Mark and that as well. But I must admit my heart sunk when I saw that post the other day. But rest in peace. And there won't be many that Paul Reed, Huddersfield Bradford, but obviously not going back.
Terry Dolan, did you say Terry?
Yeah, Terry Dolan and that as well, I suppose.
David Lawson.
I don't know what the Bradford fans think of Jacko these days.
I think there's a lot of love in there.
He's a bit of both, didn't he?
I think he's alright.
Yeah, he did a lot obviously with the fire and that, didn't he? That
Terry Yorath and stuff. Yeah.
Well, that's to come in at New Year, so exciting to look forward to that. But just kind of, probably we're finishing soon. But all I'd say is January. I posted that tweet. For me, January is just the make or break. January is it, innit? January is it. We need to set the platform to one night and win. But Lincoln, Bradford, Luton, Stockport, we'll know if we're pretenders. We'll know if this is just another fate, another false dawn. Honestly, this is. Well, Matt, it's absolutely Janet. I can't believe how big it is until I looked at all the fixtures. It's unbelievable, really.
Call me Janet. Right, I think that's all we got time for.
That's it, mate. I think that's it. That's time to go. It's not too late, mate. Everyone's delirious.
From Kosi, Janet, and Pozza. It's obviously going to be a big month, and we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. There's going to be transfers potentially in that month as well. All sorts going on, but so Town have got a couple
Castledine
of
coming in 5 million.
Someone said at the winnable fixtures at the minute, but obviously there's tougher times to come. So hopefully we'll get the points on the board against Northampton and continue in a rich vein. Thanks everyone, and we'll be back discussing the Northampton game on Andy Takes That Chance Extra Time if you are a Patreon subscriber.
There's a team that is dear to its followers. Colours are bright blue and white. They're a team of renown, and they're the pride of the town. And the game of football is their delight. And all the while upon the field of play, thousands loudly cheer them on the way. Often you can hear them say, who can beat the town today? And then the bells will ring so merrily, and every goal shall be a memory. So Town, play up and bring that cup back to Huddersfield. So Town, play up and bring the cup back to Huddersfield.